Are officially live, just so that everyone's clear on that. So welcome to the GTA Experiences page. And just to introduce our guests here, as you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, we have DJ Max 19, followed by Chief of LCPD 001, followed by Kimari 98, and then we also have a PS5 guest on, Young Savage 1297. I should say Young _ Savage 1297. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to jump in straight into the first topic of discussion, which we're going to start out actually with the Russia versus Ukraine. Since this news is something it's ongoing, it's been ongoing for like over a month now, if someone correct me if I'm wrong, as well.
It's been going on for the last couple of months.
Okay.
Yeah, last couple of months.
So since that news is always trending, literally like day after day, just because everyone wants live updates on what's going on. So just to kind of shed some light on this, I want to shed some light on this really quickly. So we might ask why did Russia actually invade or want to even invade the Ukraine, right? Why? So the president of Russia, which is Putin, right, Vladimir Putin there, and Chief, just correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm saying anything wrong, because I know you're like all in this. So, but Putin stated that the Western-leaning Ukraine was a constant threat, and Russia could not feel safe, develop, and exist. So apparently, he felt Russia was threatened by the Ukraine. Okay, and the initial aim for Russia was to overrun Ukraine and, depose its government, ending for good its desire to join the Western Defense Alliance known as NATO, which I know we are. The Northern. Well, I think they're saying Western because we're on the Western side.
Okay.
As far as that goes. But as far as that, we know NATO is very powerful. I know we had the discussion off air, as how strong NATO is based off of its alliance and the members within NATO. So I think, do we think that this is just a land grab? Like, why do we think Putin is actually wanting to invade Ukraine? I want to start with you, DJ. Go ahead.
Okay. I feel like he's just one of those person that wants to like have everything to himself, and nobody else can have anything. And he's going to try to do whatever he can at all costs to get what he wants.
Okay. And how about you, Chief?
Well, this goes in so many different ways that I don't know where to start and I don't know where to finish. Let me give you a few aspects and a few topics on the way that is being presented to me. Since I've been watching it, I pay attention to a lot of the stuff that goes on in the news. But anyway, Ukraine was once part of the USSR. That was when Russia was bigger than what it was. But a lot of countries split up. Poland split up, Ukraine split up, and other countries split up, become their own nations. Russia didn't like that. One reason Russia wants to take the Ukraine over is because the Ukraine is rich in minerals, and as well as oil and other things. So Russia wants the Ukraine back. Also, Russia knows that if the Ukraine has the type of necessary means of getting those natural resources out, it would be their oil export would be one of the biggest in Europe. I think it would be the biggest in Europe. It would surpass Russia, I believe. Another reason Russia wants to take over Ukraine is because, like you said, Kevin, they don't want for Ukraine to join NATO. Ukraine is trying to join NATO, but Russia doesn't want that because they know if let's say for instance Ukraine was a part of NATO before this whole war happened. Number one, it wouldn't happen because they know if they would attack Ukraine. Number one, all NATO members would have came to defend Ukraine, the United States and other members of NATO. Russia would have been blown off the map. Now, even though there's no countries that has boots on the ground that's helping Ukraine directly, they're helping them indirectly. They're providing weapons, they're providing humanitarian aid, and they're giving Ukraine information that their army is not yet has developed to get that type of information as of yet. So Russia is a greedy bully. You can't believe anything they say because they lie about every damn thing. They said they was going to do a ceasefire, but they're still shelling cities. And by shelling, I mean they're targeting heavily built up areas that has no type of military military bases at all. They're shooting at civilians, houses, schools, hospitals, and everything. Russia's just a fucking bully. Those are a few reasons that they're attacking Ukraine.
Okay. So, Young Savage, do you believe that this is just a land grab, or do you believe there's more to this that Russia's trying to accomplish?
Well, besides just a land grab, there's more that they can do with their military if they actually grab Ukraine. And that's what he's looking to do. He's looking to expand his military, especially like the ports on seas and everything. He has a more opportunity and more of a reach of doing things, especially when it comes to if they want to decide to think about coming over towards the U.S. He has a little bit more of an advantage on his side.
Okay. So, Kimori, I want to ask you, former President Trump said that this would not have happened under his administration. What are your thoughts on that?
I think he's full of shit. Am I wrong?
Agreed.
But like, didn't him and Russia's president or whatever, didn't they have like a secret meeting or something?
Can I respond to that?
Yep, go ahead.
You can.
Okay, Kimari, answer your question. Number one, I would say it maybe would not have, but it maybe would have happened. Number one, and I'm going to put it out there blunt, this is an adult talk show. So, whoever watching this, if you don't want your kids to listen to it, hide them in the room, but if you want them to know the truth, you can let them listen to it. So what I'm about to say is this. Donald Trump, the dictator that was in charge of America, and the dictator that is now in charge of Russia, that's been in charge of Russia for like the last 20, 30 years, Vladimir Putin, and you know what Putin means, so that should tell you a lot about itself. Anyway, they was the best of friends. Okay? So, as far as Trump saying this probably would not have happened while he was in charge, he's a lie. I feel that this would have happened. If it would have happened, Trump would have backed Russia. So, Trump is full of shit.
Well, of course, 'cause he was the whole reason why he became president. Was because
Exactly. Russia and Vladimir Putin helped Trump steal votes. They caused for votes to be stolen and not counted. He got help from Russia. So if he's saying this, that lets you know what Trump really cares. He doesn't care if Russia tries to annihilate Ukraine. But as everybody knows, it's not going in Russia's favor. They underestimated a country that was smaller than them, had a much less smaller military than they did. They underestimated them. And this is why they're losing this war, and I hope they continue to lose the damn war.
Okay. So so the president of Russia said that the goal was to demilitarize and denazify the Ukraine, okay, to protect the people subjected to what he called 8 years of bullying and genocide by Ukraine's government, because I do know you said, Russia's is basically being a bully, but he's calling Ukraine the bully. Okay. And he also said, it is not our plan to occupy the Ukrainian territory. We do not intend to impose anything on anyone by force. And he even went on to say this was not even a war or invasion. All right. He said this was merely the fiction of a special military operation that Russian state-controlled media are required to adopt. So he's kind of saying that he is pretty much testing this out on them. There's no real goal of just overthrowing them. And it sounds like we don't really believe that on this panel.
Because it's bullshit. Anytime you attack a country, it's a fucking war. There is no special operation. It's a war. He wants Ukraine because there's certain regions in Ukraine that sides with Vladimir Putin. There's certain sections of Ukraine that already belongs to Russia. One section is called the Donbass region. And he also wants the port of Odessa, which is a major port city in the Ukraine. So he can build a naval base there and have, that will give him connections to the Black Sea, which he's able to attack other countries with his naval forces. Vladimir Putin is full of shit. The guy lies. He's lied several times saying he's going to pose a ceasefire. And every time he says he poses that he's going to pose a ceasefire, he shells more cities. He's a liar and he's full of shit. And every time it should tell you how much shit Vladimir Putin is full of, because there's people within Russia that does not like him, and every time they try to protest, they're locked up for years on end. Anybody that runs against him when it comes to the presidency, they mysteriously goes missing or get locked up on some bullshit charge saying that this happened and that happened, and it's all lies. There was a Ryanair 737 that was flying over Russian airspace before this whole war started. It was flanked by Russian jets and landed. Someone was taken off. Later it was found out the person that was taken off that plane was somebody that did not agree with Russia. So Vladimir Putin is full of shit.
Okay, so here's a question for everyone. What would you do if this was a war, if Russia said, you know what, we're about to take this to the United States. So this is going to be on United States territory, on our soil. Would you leave? Would you flee the United States knowing like, hey, like we're gonna get bombs over here now. There's gonna be, you know, all types of destruction happening on our soil. How do you think you would respond if Russia said, hey, now we're coming to the United States?
Well, I wouldn't actually leave or anything from the United States because one, if he does say it, I wouldn't really take him too seriously. I would feel like he'd be bluffing because Russia wouldn't really want to take on the United States. Not when we're the leading country with the most elite military. So, as far as like any other country, most of them come with different tactics and advantages to try to, you know, infiltrate our military because our defense is too strong, basically.
Okay.
So I really wouldn't think he'd just try to just go ahead and just take it head on.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Do you think that there will never be a time that someone will attack us on our soil?
Like, it will be a time that might happen, but I personally believe that the United States already know when that probably time will come. They probably just won't say it to us. And then if and when that time does come and does hit a critical point, the military does look out for, like, basically people that actually already filled out for selective. That's what the selective service is for. If worst case scenarios, they can just pull all different types of men that's under selective service just to go into service. But then that requires a whole nother training and everything else. But then you still got our counterparts, our NATO forces, which is actually going to help us if Russia tries to infiltrate the United States.
Right, right.
Um, may I reply?
Yeah.
I agree with what Young Savage said. Russia has people in their alliance too. But I'm gonna say this. No one wants to fuck with the United States directly. And I'll tell you why. We have some crazy ass friends that's on our side. We have Japan. We have Great Britain. We have other countries that's peaceful. But if you attack them or their friends, they would just blow you the fuck up. Let's keep that straight. Russia does not have the advanced technology that the United States have. Number one. And number two, before they even make it halfway to the United States, their entire country will be wiped off the face of the map. The United States is not a country that wants war or destruction. We're peaceful people, no matter what other countries think about us. But if you fuck with us, we will fuck with you back. And we have powerful allies that will help us. Not saying we don't need them, not saying we do need them. But when you attack the United States, it's like you're fucking with the entire world. Russia is a country that cannot be trusted. So I agree with what Young Savage said.
Okay. How do you feel about that, DJ? Do you feel like if this was on or coming to the United States territory, do you think you would, be scared? You would flee the country, and would you sign up for the military to try to help your country?
Yeah, I probably would eventually sign up and help. Unless they impose the draft and we kind of have no choice but to go.
Okay. Well, Young Savage and Chief were just saying that we have a selective service as well before. And just remember, because I think what happened to DJ right there, since he just disappeared, probably
Somebody
just make sure we
invite him
just make sure we move our analog around for those of us in the building, so we don't time out. All right. But yeah, so Kimari, how would you feel about that as well? Then would you feel, like I said, United States is being attacked, or we're going to be attacked? Would you just be okay with living your regular life?
Yeah, so I pretty much disagree with everyone, honestly. So I live in Virginia. Is one of the world's I'm right next to one of the world's largest naval bases. So I'm pretty sure this would be one of the places they would blow up. So yes, I would leave. I would take their threat seriously. Another thing is, I don't think America is one of the most technologically advanced countries. We are far behind. I don't really care what nobody says. We are very, very behind. The Asian countries, Japan, China, they are years far from us. They're very, very advanced. I feel like they could take us out, honestly. And I know Russia is pretty close to like Vladimir. I think he's pretty close to is it Kim Hong or something like that?
Oh, Kim Jong-un,
Yeah,
South Korea.
South Korea, North Korea, one of them.
Mm.
So I feel like we would be in danger, honestly.
Could I reply to that?
Go ahead.
Sure.
Okay. I wouldn't say that. Two questions. Yeah, they would target naval installations like the Portsmouth, there in Virginia. Also, I don't say close by one, but I know New Jersey has joint Fort Dix McGuire Air Force Base in Toms River. Not only would they destroy naval installations, but they would also target major cities, places of commerce and places of business. So, but I have to disagree with Kimari. There are some countries that are close to us, but no one spends more money in military defense more than the United States. No one, there's probably some countries that's second and third, of course, but there's nobody that has greater technological advances than the United States do. Despite what they put on YouTube and all of this, there's nobody. For instance, when Russia is currently taking place now, is attacking Ukraine, they wanted to totally annihilate the country. It backfired. So, some things I agree with Kimari, some things I don't agree with.
Well, if you really want to be technical, if you want to talk about danger, we're technically all in danger if they really want to talk about war.
Uh-huh.
Because each one of them has nuclear warheads, so
exactly.
It's only a push of a button. That's what everybody really don't realize. It's
Who
literally
can
just a
get
push
theirs
of a
in
button.
it? I look at it like this. I feel like it's who can get theirs in the air first. And who
But
can get a hit first.
you want to know why we the most elite? Because we have, even though, if you say like we're not more advanced as them in technology, the United States still control practically damn near everything around the world. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's either 9 or 10 satellites. I believe it's 9 though, but the U.S. controls 8 of them. So we still have a pretty much advantage on when it comes to military. And then we are the most elite trained. They don't train the way we train.
Nope.
The way the United States train our army is nowhere compared to any other country.
Can somebody invite DJ back? My bad. Young Savage, finish talking.
Can I add something real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is like 2022, so I feel like war, it wouldn't be the type of war where it was like, you know, World War I, World War II. It would be more so of a
electronic.
Yeah, like a more technological war. So
basically like a cyber attack.
A cyber war.
Yeah, a cyber war. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what our defense is basically spending so much money on right now.
Really? Okay.
Because to be honest, if we do have a cyber attack like we did have years ago, that would actually, if it actually goes through and somebody actually is successful with it, if you bring the whole United States down, that cripples us completely.
And not only does it cripple the United States, it cripple the world. So if you have a country that has helped you, that has helped other countries in earthquakes, hurricanes, floods, humanitarian aid, all that type of things, there's no country that's going to let the United States fall. Because that's just like, for instance, if Russia's allies let Russia fall, then they're fucked. So I still believe and know for a fact, this is not an opinion, that the United States is advanced in war, combat, hand-to-hand war, and electronic warfare, and guerrilla warfare. We were the ones that bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki and forced Japan to surrender when it came to that war. Didn't we want to do it? No. But the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor and we had no other choice but to be dragged into that war. It's not the point of if you want to do something. It's the point of when you should do something. And that's what Russia does not understand.
Okay. So I wanted to, because the selective service was brought up, Is the selective service, is that just for men?
Yes.
Or it's just for men? Okay.
Oh,
Only for men.
well, I mean,
Women is exempt.
but
Okay.
women. Well, I don't know about that, but I know in wars before, when it came to World War One and World War Two, women
No,
did go to factories and help with stuff like that.
Right, right, yes.
for the selective service, it'll tell you before you like you do everything. It'll tell you because I already filled out the selective service.
Mhm.
It says it's any male born after I believe it's 1980. I'm gonna have to get back to the year on you with that. But
Mhm.
whatever year after that, any male born after that is supposed to sign up for the selective service, and it tells you, it underlines that women and children is exempt from selective service
Okay.
until the male hits the age of 18.
Okay.
Okay, let me ask this. In a time of crisis, in a time of war, let's say, like I said, let's say if Russia and China declared war on the United States, and the selective
Mhm.
service is only for men,
Mhm.
is that up to date? Should we not require, because women, and I'm just saying this on my own, just in case, but I'm just saying, as a question, because women often want equality, right? If I think we can all agree on that, women always advocate for equality in everything they do. They want to be equal to men. They want the same pay as men.
Mhm.
So, should the selective service include women?
I would look at it like this: women is not just meant to. Women is not just meant to stay at home as they prove themselves in the night. I think it was what, the 1960s or the 70s or whatever. They're not just meant to do housework. They're not just meant to stay in the kitchen and cook. If you ask me, a woman can do a job just as good or better than a man. So if they feel that they can take part in a war, then let them. There's women that is breaking barriers right now. We have a woman vice president. The state of New Jersey, where I live at, has a woman lieutenant governor. So if they feel that they want to sign up, then they should be given the same right as a man.
Okay. I do want to actually, being that you said a woman can do like a job just as good, if not better, than a man, is that really true? Because there are, I
Well,
feel like, okay, Young Savage, yep, go ahead.
I'm gonna say I can't say every job, and I'm not trying to be like discriminate against any women or anything like that. Especially like when it comes to military, yeah. Fine and well, a woman can serve in the military. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I, me personally, I feel as though is the branches of what they can actually serve in. Like, say, if a woman was to sign up for the Navy, is like just being on a regular Navy ship or a destroyer, that's fine and well. But when it comes to like a Navy SEAL, I wouldn't say I prefer like a woman to be a Navy SEAL. I'm not saying they can't,
Mm-hmm.
but when it comes into situations like that, especially getting captured, I feel as though it's like a little bit more easier for a woman to break than a man. Why? I feel as though because their emotions and their hormones is much different than ours, and it only takes about a certain amount for a female to break than it
Okay.
would versus a man. Like, for instance, if it's a male and a female that's captured and they're both separated and the captor is trying to use I would say their child or an innocent child as you know, their way to
Leverage.
gain something. I feel like the female will eventually give in to what the capture is trying to do than to as far as with a male.
Well, I got what you saying. You saying her inner mother is going to come out.
Yeah, basically like that. It, it's like
Can't I'm gonna let you finish
thinking.
because I got a
Go
question.
ahead.
I can go. Well, what if this? I get what you mean, her inner mother, but what if this female has no children?
Woman intervention is still a child.
I
At
get
some point,
that.
yeah, but
Uh
at
huh.
some point, in a female, they're gonna want a child, even if they can't get a child. Some men
That's true.
just don't think like that at all.
But I
Uh huh.
feel like you can't say that like all females are like the exact same.
True. Uh huh.
I think
My thing. My bad.
Let
Um.
me ask you this: if a female isn't so tough, how come there's like females in the military and not in the military?
Say
Say
that
that
again.
again.
If you don't think a female is tough, or are you saying they would break like easier than a guy? How come you don't go to the military and like there's females that's in there? I feel like you're kind of
Yeah,
being
it's no. I'm saying they can't. I didn't. I never said they couldn't join the military. But when was the last time you actually heard as a female as a ranger or a
I
Navy
mean, I
SEAL?
haven't, but I
I.
feel like they could do the job.
I mean, it'll be a. I'm not saying that they can't do it. I just feel like it's person is like a disadvantage a little bit. But I'm not knocking any female. Yeah, if you get there, you do what you gotta do, you grind, then you show what you can do for other women to get there. But I don't feel like every woman will be the same.
Oh, okay. I agree, but that's what I'm trying to say, and I believe that's what DJ is saying too. No woman is the same. No man is the same. Shit, you have some men that will do about face and run, and you will have a woman there beating the hell out of somebody. So, also with that being said, you have some women that are generals and admirals. You have some women that's police chiefs. So I know police and navy is, I mean, police and military is different, but as I said, I feel that a woman can do a job just as good or better than a man. Some can, some can't, but you can't put them all in the same basket.
okay. How about let's look at this angle. I think what Young Savage is talking is from a perspective of, in general, most women would not fit the category.
Okay,
They're not going to go for one. Let's make it like this. How about like this? If they join the
okay.
military, would women opt for let's say more of a secretarial type position, or are they going to say, "Oh, I want to go on the front line"?
Well, I
How
would
many
say
women do you think
95.
would go to the front line?
Well, let's
I
just
would,
say, all right, in the front line, what Kevin was saying. Let's just say, because you have the front line with different branches. You got to think of the branches that they actually go into. That's why I
uh-huh,
mentioned the Navy and the Army, because the Army has a specialized elite force. But when it comes to like Navy and stuff like that, Navy and the Marine
uh-huh,
Corps,
uh-huh.
their elite forces, most of them go into off the books special black projects. And that's why I'm trying to get at with as far as a female perspective, like going into off the books, radio silence. I don't think they personally fit that category right there. I'm not saying that they don't fit the category of military, period.
Okay.
But at the same time, we are saying that men and women are not equal, right? They're not equal in that perspective. They cannot do everything a man can do. Do we have a bunch of team, let's say, of construction workers who are women, electricians that are just women, plumbers that are women? How about just bodyguards. Like if I wanted to hire a bunch of bodyguards, are you going to hire a bunch of women to protect you, or would you hire men to protect you, right? Do you feel like, I mean, a woman can apply for the job, right, as a bodyguard? She could say, I'm the best bodyguard you'll ever have, right? And that might be true if she's built properly. She probably has to be built in order to convince you otherwise. But even in that type of perspective, you know, like for instance, even if I think of a more basic job, like a housekeeper in a hospital, right? My mom is a housekeeper. I did housekeeping in a hospital. We get the same pay, right? But my job was a lot harder than hers. Does that mean she deserves less pay than me? Absolutely, I believe so. Personally, I felt that was wrong, that I'm getting the same paycheck when this female can have the same job title as me and get the same pay, but they're not doing the same work as me. And I think a lot of times when women, you know, they speak on equality, it's mainly they have the same job title as the man, but they're not actually doing the same work as the man would do. And in the military, I feel like if you're going to be equal, then we should not have what Young Savage was saying as far as, you know, depending on what branch you're in, you know what I mean, all that. No. If men are open to everything within the military, then so should women who want equality, right? You should be able to do the exact same things. Every man should be able to, you know, and like we said, every man can't do the job, but in general, men are expected to be able to do that, you know what I mean? And in general, I think women just don't meet that standard. So as far as with, again, the selective service, should that really just be men if women really want equality? Kimari.
I mean, I don't have a lot to offer on this topic, I'm not gonna lie, but personally, I mean, I just think it should be optional, I guess.
Okay, so you feel like women should just have the option if they want to be in the selective service, they can. If not, it's okay.
Yeah, I don't think it should be mandatory though, like for men. No, I don't.
I'll wait.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Agree with Kimar. I feel like if they sign up for it, then let them join. But once they sign up, they should not be given an opportunity to back out.
But
they read that fine print.
Why shouldn't they?
Let me put this like this. They signed up for that, and then they read the dangers of the situation at hand. They signed up. I'm quite sure they tell you to read this document to know what you're getting yourself into before you put your John Hancock.
Not necessarily, because the U.S. don't really give you all that information. They don't tell you exactly what you're.
Okay, well, let's put this in layman terms. If someone tells you, run out there in the middle of the traffic and see if you can make it to the other side. Mm-hmm. And the person before you do it and they make it, and you run your dumb ass out there in the middle of the traffic and you get killed. Whose fault is that?
Well, technically,
everybody.
But hey, look. All right,
hold on. Everybody knows what they doing when they sign up to be in the military. They ain't shooting water pistols and throwing balloons at you. It's live ammo and it's bombs. So when someone asks you, do you want to sign up for the military? And you say yes, and your ass gets shipped out to the front lines of one of the most gruesome, deadliest wars. Number one, you signing up for the military, you know what you're doing.
Yeah, you sign up for the military, but it depends on what you're signing up for.
Well, I'm going to say this. If they sign up for...
They do still have military civilian contracts where you can go active duty without actually going into war.
I'm not talking about a contract. The thing is, it's
still under the military. You said if they sign up for the military.
But is that the same?
It's still technically part of the military.
Is that the same thing as active service?
Yes, it'll still be active service. You're just not on the war front. You're on the home front.
Well, if okay, I don't know much about that, but I'll say I agree with you. But if this woman signs up and she finds out later on down the line that she's being sent to fight in combat, the question at hand here is, should she be able to say that she don't want to be a part of it anymore? And I say no.
Well, I say that if they do that, I say they should at least give them like, all right, if for a woman, if they want to sign up, I think they should at least give them the option of a 6-month turnaround if they want to back out or something. Because
I don't agree.
All right, say for instance, right? This woman had a family, right? And she signed up for selective service. But she wasn't expecting to have any more kids, and she ended up having another child. But say if that father, the parent of the other parent of the child is military, who's active. Now, say she get called for military active duty, then what happens to the child?
Okay. Once again, you said she was pregnant and she didn't know she was pregnant?
No, saying she had a child, right?
This child has already been born.
Yes, this child has been born. Let's say that the child is a teenager, 16, 17, whatever the case.
Okay.
She signed up for selective service. And then, somewhere down the line, we getting breaking news or whatever is going on in the world, and they send out a letter to everybody that's under the selective service.
Okay.
Why shouldn't she at least give at least a 6 months notice to back out? If she wanted to back out, say she had another child. But either way, that one of the parents is already actively in service. Now, if she gets called and she goes actively in service, then what's going to happen to the child?
My thing is this. I understand what you're saying, but my point is this. And I'm not being mean, because those of you that know me, which everybody in here, I look at everything from the inside out. She know what she was signing up for when she signed up for the number one. She knows she has a child. Why would you put yourself in that predicament to sign up and you know you got a child thinking you're not going to be called, and let's say the fucking world comes to an end and they need for everybody to sign up to go to war? You know what you was putting yourself in when you signed it. There should be no justification, even though that is, it's a sticky, sad situation, but you know what you was putting yourself in when you got yourself into that situation. That's just like you going to buy a house and you have no credit to buy that house, and you get backed into a corner saying in order for you to do this, that, and the third, you have to jeopardize something just in case you can't make the payments on that house. You say, okay, well then fine. And you jeopardize your car, whatever it may be, you have to pay up. And in the same situation is this female that signed up for this, that knew she had a child, and that knew the consequences and the situation that would happen if she passes away, God forbid. That child won't have a mother. She knew what she was getting into, so why would she sign up?
Yeah, well, most people don't actually sign up to go to war.
Well, as again, this is the only force.
The military does, the military does take care of their own. Some people just sign up thinking about their future or thinking about their kids' future. Because if something was to happen to them, as being an active military, the military will take care of whatever they need to do for that family.
That's true. But the thing is, this is what I'm saying is, when you hear military, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear signing up for the military?
See, everybody always think of war, and it's not always just war. That's why I said the military has other different things. That's listed under the military.
I understand that. But if you get called, you have to act to defend your country and protect your home front.
Okay, so what's the difference of defending your country somewhere else than defending your country here. The same thing that happens over there can happen here.
I
So
understand
it's not
that.
really much of a difference. Either way, you're signing up to do something that's going to be on both sides, no matter regardless where it happens. If it happens, it happens. Now, if let's say you didn't sign up for the military and it happens over here.
Okay, I understand that, but my whole thing is this: you know what you getting yourself into if they have to call you. I feel that she should not have the opportunity to say, "Oh no, I don't want to do it." You sign the paper. I mean, I don't know what nobody else on this panel thinks, but I feel that if you sign that paper to defend your country, you should stick by your word.
All right, what you think about this, DJ?
What was the question?
Kevin, you want to repeat the question?
Okay, so pretty much, if we have the selective service for men, it's required. We were really talking about, should it also be required for women, since women always advocate for equality. And at this point, we're at a place where Chief is saying, if a woman were to have that option and she did say, and she signed up for the selective service, she should not have the option to go back on her decision, no matter what at that point.
I feel like they should at least work the contract out.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay then. So I feel.
Can we hear from Kimari's side, Kevin, if that's okay?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I thought I already spoke.
Oh, you did?
I think so, right?
I believe he did.
Okay. I know this
I
not.
believe he said he ain't had too much to comment on this particular topic.
Okay. Well, Mr. Talk Show host, Mr. Campbell, how do you feel?
So I do feel as though if women had that option of selective service and they signed up for it, I do feel as though I agree with Chief and DJ that they should have to stick it out, because again, that would be equality, and men don't have that option, to just renege on that. And I mean, even though they have to do it, but at the same time, also what I do agree with what Chief was saying, and as Young Savage even said, the first thing people think of when they think of the military is war. Whether we want them to think that or not is besides the point. The fact is that's what they think about. So you cannot say that, oh, I didn't think we would go to war and all this stuff. And this I wanted to also, this is going to lead us into another conversation regarding the military, because this is something I want to bring up. As far as, there was a video that went viral of this woman who's in the army. Okay. And in this video that went viral, she says these words: "Y'all are so insensitive. Y'all want to talk about this is what you signed up for. Nobody goes into the military wanting to go to war, thinking they're going to go to war. I'm financed, for crying out loud. Nobody claims this is going to happen, but like civilians get to go home. Y'all get to go to your families. Y'all go to work. Y'all know what your life is going to be. My life is so unpredictable. I could be deployed within the next few days. I didn't come into the army for this." Now, before this video went viral, she had other videos online, right? Where they showed her online, living in the barracks, twerking, right? And there's nothing wrong with having a good time, right? But they were saying, like, okay, you're enjoying this military lifestyle, you're enjoying the money that you're getting. And like I said, she works in finance, right? However, one of the other videos, she was in her car talking about the army got me effed up. And okay, so now when this potential World War III is happening, she had all that to say. So are we agreeing with her? Do we disagree? Again, she's saying that she didn't go into the military thinking that they're going to go to war, or that she wants to go to war, and no one tells you this. So
what you're saying, if I understand you correctly, is that she's saying you want to know how we feel about her saying that basically she should not have the right to go to war.
well,
Am I wrong? Is that what you're saying? She's saying basically she feels that she should not have to be deployed. She's saying she works in finance. That's the only thing that she should do.
that is part of it. Yes, she feels like people should just have more empathy for her. She feels like she was blindsided practically because she says no, they didn't tell her about war.
Can I reply to that? I'm gonna try to be as quick as possible with this,
Yes.
because I know we got the other topics to go over too. That's combined in this talk show. I'm gonna say this: you know what you was doing when you signed up, whether you was in finance or working as a firefighter. You know what you signed up for when you signed up for it. There is a gray line in the military, if you ask me. You could be doing finance one day, and if they need to call on their forces to protect their country, do you really think the United States is going to say, oh no, this person works in finance, this person works in humanitarian aid? If they need to call, hold on, I'm not finished. They need to call on people to protect their home front. They have to call on people to protect the home front, because if I join the military and I join for engineering, and they need to call on me to help engineer a bridge that is in the middle of a war zone, I can get blown up right there. I can't say, no, I don't want to go, because then I am not living up to my standards and I'm not protecting my country. You signed up for the military, you know what you signed up for. If she can twerk, she can shoot.
Well, quick question. The DOD is military, right?
Can you give some
So-
information about what the DOD is?
Department of Defense.
Okay.
That's how part of our home front military, basically.
Okay.
So everybody that signed up at the DOD, you think they wanted to just go into war? You think they could just be called into war?
If the home front
So-
needs them, then yes.
Yeah, but they can't go though. They have
Okay.
an option. They have an option.
Okay.
So even though, like, when you sign up for the military, they ask you specific questions, but they also ask you, did you do research before you signed up to join the military? Because
Okay.
there are certain positions within the military that is not required for you to go to war, even if they call you in action.
Okay. Well, if it's something to protect that aspect, to protect them in that aspect, then okay. I understand that. That should not be touched upon. But this fictional female character that we're speaking on, or this fictional female human being that we're speaking on, if she signs up and she's told what she's going to be doing, then within 6 months, if she feels that she wants to back out, then she should not be given the opportunity to back out, because she knew what she was getting into before she signed up. Now, if she signed up
Well-
and they told her specifically she was going to be doing this, that, and the third, then okay. But as the talk show host said, when people think of military, what's the first thing that comes to your mind, Kevin?
War.
I rest my case.
But she signed up for the military. As far as like what you were talking about earlier with the selective service and actually signing your contract and paperwork for the military, it's two different things.
Right.
That's two different things.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yes.
I do believe that they should get an option on selective service, but when you sign up for the actual military and you sign your contract, they selfly explain everything in there before you sign it. And yeah, I wouldn't say you can't get a 6-month back out period on the actual contract, because then that's I forgot what they call it. I can't think of the name right now, but is you'll get kicked out of the military and you ain't gonna be able to join again.
like a dishonorable discharge or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I
Because
think,
the contract is actually when a lot of people don't know or pay attention to. When you sign up for the military, your contract is not 4 years. Everybody think it's 4 years. It's not. You can leave after your 4 years, but you have a minimum of 8 years on your contract. So after that 4 years, even if you leave and the military calls you, you still have to go.
okay. Okay, someone invite Kimari back, just by the way.
I'm doing it now.
And then I did want to say, though, I do believe that what Chief is just getting at, and we're going to move on from this topic, though, but I believe what he's saying is, like, pretty much if we need you and you're already a part of the military, no matter what your job title is, do not be surprised if we call upon you, is what I think he's just getting at that point. And I think that's fair. You know, if you are in the military, whether you're active or not, if you're a part of the military, you're gonna be one of the first people. If a war is breaking out, if they really need people, they're gonna come to you. You know what I mean? And I think that's just the way it is. You know, then just if you don't want that to be you, just don't.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I just say you can't just select anybody from anywhere. That's what I'm saying. You can't just select anybody from anywhere because it's the same at the war front. You need them there at the home front too.
Right.
If anything,
Absolutely.
you're going to need them at the home front more than you need at the war front.
Okay.
Because that's who the war front relates to the home front.
Okay, and just to say this too, this woman was crying in tears as she said all that, and this is a real woman, you know, real woman in the army, you know. And I do want to read some comments that were underneath this video. So we had one comment that said she wanted equality, she got it, women got it. No one told her to sign up for something she can't handle. No more special treatment for you, lady. This is what men deal with, soldiers deal with. Second comment, as a vet, the idea of serving next to a coward was much more frightening than the idea of war. Third comment, women want the benefits of being a man, but not the responsibility or accountability. When times get tough, they want to cry and pout about it. So I wanted to just highlight those comments right there. And you were going to say something, Chief?
Yeah, I'm not going to, because I know there's other topics. I'm trying to invite Kimari, but he's not online yet. But anyway, I know there's other topics that we got to cover. I want to say this. And if I'm saying something wrong, please correct me. Military and the police are two total different things. But if you think about it, it's kind of the same thing. Kind of. And I put that heavily, kind of. When you sign up to be an auxiliary policeman, you're still called on. So if you tell them that you don't want to do it, I don't know what the certifications is if you tell them you don't want to do it if they need you, but you're not living up to what you said.
Auxiliary police officer is not actually always required to do that because that's why I call auxiliary police officers. They don't their full contract is not as would it be the same as a police officer.
Okay.
So they're not actually required to do that. Now, if you was like using as a police officer or a state trooper example, then yeah. Dependent on your ranking level.
Okay.
Like you don't necessarily have to do certain stuff because you have other regions or other specialized departments that can handle that.
Okay. But my thing is this: as far as that goes, like I said, I'm not gonna be an asshole towards this lady. And I know this talk show is live. But
I mean, I feel like what they're saying is they don't expect to sign up. The way in their signing, they're thinking, they're not like just thinking about just war. They feel as though they're signing their life away, like they're signing up to die, basically.
And I understand that. Also, like I said, I can't say I sympathize with her because I don't know what that. I've never went through that. But my thing is this: as Kevin said, you're having a good time, you're twerking, and everything. But then when they call on you, if they need you, you don't want to act. I can't, that's something that I cannot wrap around my head. I can't. I just can't. And as Kevin read that comment where he says the person said they'd rather die in war than to die next to a coward, something like that, that speaks volumes.
The only reason why I say you can't just pull them from anywhere, because some people that are actively in service in the military did not go through combat training. Some of them don't have that training. So say you call on a person that doesn't have that training at all, and you just send them out there.
Well, okay, I understand what you're saying with that, but still, that maybe can be some type of training that this lady can take or something. But I feel that if you are called upon your country to defend it, you must act.
Yeah, you can act it any way you can, but if a person doesn't want to go out there and actually fight, they can actually bring that up to the brass.
Well, I don't agree. I don't agree if somebody. I know what that is. I don't agree if the person does not actually want to go out there and fight. Then they should be given the right. Oh no, you signed up. There should be no there should be no reason why. As Kevin said, women wanted the equality, and I'm not sexist at all. I fight for women's rights just as well as I fight for my rights and anyone's rights. You wanted the equality, you got the equality, now you deal with the equality, and you wear that equality like it is your clothes.
Well, I'm not just saying like women in general. I'm just saying in general, as far as she was called on.
I understand that. But just because you don't want to go does not mean you should not be given a reason to not go. So I know there's other topics that we need to get to, but I stand with what I said first. If she's called upon, she should act. Because if a man say, oh, I was signed up to do such and such and such and I don't want to go, if she has the right to back out, every male should be given the same right that she was given. Am I wrong or am I right?
Some of them do get the same right.
Well, I'm going to say this too. Across the board, if you're called on, you should act. And like you said, that should be something that should be brought up to brass.
And now you see that's where the military needs to get a little bit more hands-on with bringing in people into the military.
Okay.
They tell you can go here, you can go here, you can do this, you can do that. But when it comes to somebody that's actually reading everything down to the last detail, and then when you call on them and they say they don't want to do something and they know they don't physically have to within their contract, especially with what they're doing, it's not always required for them to go because every military personnel is not always trained for combat.
Okay, I agree with you on that. So you're saying they need to fix their protocols.
There's a lot of things that they need to fix.
Okay.
Because if you're going to call on somebody, I'm not saying that they should not go at all. If you're going to call on somebody, don't send somebody out there to the wolves that's never been in any type of training or combat. That's like you just saying, all right, you just got hired at this job, and you're doing this. All right, for instance, let's just say you got hired for a paramedic, but you only did a basic class of EMT. You can't throw somebody in the ambulance with another paramedic, and then they go to a high risk call, and that only this person know how to do certain stuff, and this person was never trained for anything besides was to just draw blood.
Okay, I agree with you. On that, I agree with you. But the thing is, when someone signs up for military, nobody is going to think, oh, I'm going to do accounting or I'm going to do housekeeping. I mean, not unless you're told that's what you're going to do. When you hear military, This is war. It's not. That's what it is. It's war. I don't know how else I can put it.
Definitely understood there. I mean, we're gonna move on, but like we do know, the military, we defend our, they're there to defend the country. That's, I think the basis there. So we're gonna move on though to just to lighten it up a little bit more. Something just quick, little quick topic here. Wendy Williams versus her Wells Fargo, but we're not gonna really dive into all her details. It's really gonna be more of a how would you kind of respond to a situation similar if this happened to you currently, or even let's say 10 years from now. Let's say you have a good savings account. Maybe the average person either has like a savings account, 401k, they might have some stocks in the stock market, right? Some money set aside. We all have checking accounts, or at least most people do, I should say, have checking accounts. So what Wendy Williams is pretty much been going through is the bank has frozen all of her accounts, her personal, business, and any type of assets that she has, and she has it through that Wells Fargo bank, right? So all of it is frozen. She cannot do anything with that money. It comes to the point of where she still has, if she has a mortgage or rent to pay, she has employees to pay, she can't touch none of her money to do any of it, So in a situation on the common person, everyday average life, if your bank decided to freeze your money because they said, we don't think you've been making transactions, or you're trying to make transactions that we don't believe you would normally make.
Legitimate.
Right? And we believe you are incapacitated, that we think you should have a guardianship, pretty much someone else to kind of be like an advisor for you to make these decisions, to make sure that they're, I guess, good enough, right? How would you feel about that? How would you handle such a thing? Like right now, your accounts are frozen, your rent is due, and today is March 31st.
I would say it's my money, as long as I'm not trying to fund some fucking terrorist organization, or I'm not out there buying guns or selling drugs or sending money to some type of person that's a criminal, and I'm doing what I have to do legitimately, and I'm filing my taxes, and everything that I do is legitimate. No one can tell me what to do with my money. I feel she should take the banks to court and sue them for everything that they are worth and more.
Okay. Do you feel like this is a preventative measure from the bank that is in the best interest of, the person, which, and Wendy or yourself, like as far as maybe like a fraud prevention? Maybe they're looking at fraud.
They say that they feel as though that she wasn't making the charge. I feel like it should have been an investigation before they eat the frozen accounts.
Well, I got a question. What was the reason? Can you touch a little bit? I know this is just going to be a quick thing and then we're going to move on to something else. But what was the main reason for them to freeze her accounts? Was something flagged as something that was questionable? What was the reason?
Okay, well, they said that pretty much Wells Fargo made a number of allegations, including that the bank has strong reason to believe that Williams is the victim of undue influence and financial exploitation. Okay, so they believe she's being exploited. So from me, that sounds like they feel she might be trying to, I don't know if she's trying to move around a large sum of money, because that's what I was kind of reading from that. If they feel like she's being exploited, you know what I mean?
It depends. Like, all right, when you, for like banks themselves, when you're trying to you take out or move a large period of money, you have to go to the branch manager period for that. You have to speak to them about that before you even try moving money. Because there's a limit to what you can move and what you can take out of a bank per federal laws. But if she was just moving it like from account to another account, let's just say if it was with inside her bank, I really think it shouldn't have been a problem because it's not like she's moving it to a different bank or she's wiring it to another checking account or something like that. It's still within their bank. Yeah, the branch manager should get a heads up, but I still feel like they should have did a little investigation before they even froze her account. Period. Like
Well,
it should
I'm
have
sorry. Let me
been
go.
more communication with that before they just stop your money because you never know what another person has to do. If you stop their financial funds, then it's basically like you're stopping their life.
They're fucked. What was she trying to move? Like, what was she actually trying to do with this money? And how much money was this?
Okay, well, as far as what she was trying to do is not disclosed. As far as the amount of money at Wells Fargo, they say it's
Not
millions of
disclosed.
dollars. They say it's millions of dollars that she has in these Wells Fargo accounts. Because remember, she has a personal account with them. She does have a business account, and then they said assets as well. So there's a ton of money, I'm pretty sure, circulating in all those accounts. However, she does, because she's Wendy Williams, because she is a multimillionaire, I believe she's worth about $60 million. So, someone such as her, they have financial advisors a lot of times, right? Most smart people with a lot of money will have a financial advisor. Now, her financial advisor from that bank she had actually recently terminated that person. However, that same person she terminated is actually still actively advising, her, or at least I should say looking over her accounts, because they're not really advising her, because like I said she got rid of that person. But the bank is allowing that same person to still be over her finances. And she feels as though that person is conspiring with the bank to say, hey, we don't believe Wendy's doing this correct, doing this, or she's doing things in, as they said, under an undue influence.
If he was terminated, they shouldn't have been working with him at all.
That
He
is a
should have he
conflict
should
of.
have no entrance or no access period to whatever it needs in no any way,
I
let
agree.
alone with the bank.
I agree. Because, like I said, I know this is just a quick topic, but it's turning into a big one. So I'm going to just say this. Number one, why did she terminate him? Is it something that she was doing that was suspicious? And number two, as Young Savage just said, if, the person was terminated, why is he still making decisions for her on the outside? If she terminated him from the inside, it doesn't make much sense. That's like you working at a place and you quit and you start working at another place, and that boss from that place that you just quit from is still telling you what you can and what you can't do. And your new company is listening. It doesn't make much sense. So there should be more investigation. There's still more that need to come out with that. I feel that someone is not going to just fire their financial advisor without reason or just cause.
Quick question: how long has he been her financial advisor?
Well, it's a woman that's a financial advisor.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
And let me see, how long was she in this business? Because it does say, give me 1 second.
that is a good question that you pose, because I mean, for you to get rid of your young, damn, I was going to mix up your name and I was going to say young advisor, but anyway, for you to get rid of your financial advisor, I don't, something's strange. I don't know about that.
Okay, so to answer the question, this financial advisor has been with Wendy for 15 years. And she's been a veteran financial advisor for 23 years with
Sure,
apparently an unblemished record. So she has like a perfect track record.
So she's not new.
No.
So
she got
until
fired.
my bad, until she got until Wendy Williams got her. So there's something going on that maybe one side is not sharing. One side is trying to put shit on the other side because they want for them to look good. 23. How many years she was Wendy's financial advisor?
15.
15 years, and she just decided to get rid of her now. Number one, if you notice money is missing from your account within the first couple of weeks, I would get rid of your ass. But she been with them for 15 years. She was with her for 15 years, and she has an unblemished record for 23 years. That should tell you something. And if somebody doesn't see what's going on there, then something isn't right. But she should not be able to tell Wendy what to do with her money if she is not her financial advisor anymore. Whether she has the best interest at heart or whatever.
And just to point this out, though, it does say Williams went on to claim in court docs that this financial advisor was terminated as her financial advisor due to malfeasance in relation to Williams' accounts and improper conduct in relation to their professional relationship. So,
but this went on for 50. After 50.
Well, it doesn't specifically say if that happened for the entire 15 years or maybe in the latter stages. You know what I mean? Of her career, as she maybe got, more and more money, maybe then things started to change around a little bit, and maybe this advisor started acting differently and started doing shady stuff. They don't really go into details of why specifically, like what this advisor was doing specifically. You know what I mean?
My thing is this: when things like that happens, isn't there usually a paper trail? If you work at a job, you have to get reference from your previous job to let them know how your work ethic was. Now, if the work ethic is not good, that job's not going to hire you. Like, she was this woman's financial advisor for 15 years. Did she do her research? Like, I mean, it just sounds fishy to me. More needs to come out with this story.
That depends how far down you dig into somebody's background. I mean, like if she hired private detective. Like it depends on how far he actually digs to and what he finds.
And I agree with that.
I can't really say like if she did like a full background, like most millionaires like that, they hire people to actually do like a deep dive background so they can actually know the real you. But I can't say if Wendy did that or not, or I can't say if Wendy knew the person already.
That's true. I don't want to. I'm quite sure somebody else want to talk, so I'm gonna be quiet until the next topic, until we get to the, because I know.
Let me say this: should a bank have this type of power, Kimari?
Well, before I answer the question, can I ask you something real quick? So, like, are you sure it was a woman that was in control of her money?
Yes. It says Lori.
Well, I went to a video recently and like it said that it was another guy.
You're probably talking about the ex-manager.
Yeah,
the black man.
He have
the black old
over
man.
her money as well. Like he was using her money to pay for his house and his all the other type of stuff.
He used her card to hire a legal team to go against Wendy. That's alleged, and that's what Wendy is claiming. She doesn't technically know that because she doesn't have access, right? So she doesn't really know that, but that's what she's claiming. She's claiming that he used her money to get a financial team to go against her. So if that becomes the case, right, that becomes fraud. And if he spent a good amount of money on this legal team, he's going to be in real big trouble for something like that, right? And he doesn't look like he's a millionaire, to be honest, just saying. based off his looks. But yeah, the actual financial advisor is a female though.
So didn't she sign? Didn't she like sign with someone when she was going through like all that rehab stuff recently? Like, was it him or was it another person or do
I'm
you know
not
what I'm
sure what
talking
you
about?
mean by sign.
Like,
Which means as far as like a contract.
nah, like it's like in her money and like her assets and stuff. I'm trying to find the video, but I can't find it.
Basically,
Oh,
like
for someone to
somebody that
control
have
her
power of attorney.
assets? Yeah, like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure if she did sign something like that. It doesn't seem like she did because Wells Fargo's actually that's what they want. They want her to have a guardian,
But that's the thing.
and
So
she's
like,
trying to. I think she said. I want to say. I feel like I read that she was trying to get her son to have that
yeah,
role, but I don't.
yeah.
I don't know if they were allowing that or something. But because the court docs, pretty much moving forward, the court docs are going to be. They're not going to be public, so we're not going to really know things moving forward in this
Okay.
case. And I think that's a smart decision by, hopefully, I guess Wendy, I don't know if she probably opted for that, privacy, because she knows the blogs are gonna eat this up, right? So, but at the end of the day, though, Kimar, do you think a bank should have such power to do this?
That's kind of hard. I mean, yes and no. I say no because I mean it's her money, you know. She she can do whatever she wants with her money, but at the same time, they're trying to protect themselves because it could be fraud, it could be a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm kind of torn about that, honestly.
I feel as though that the bank should only have that power if it's a seriously medically need to be, whereas though that the medical profession feels as though that this person is basically not competent to handle their own financial situation,
You
or
mean they
at
don't have
the
their
end,
head on their shoulders?
I mean not like physically, like mental wise, like anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like if like basically saying if you was like going to court, not saying like, all right, there's many different ways that a person can be in contact to withstand trial. Like they can't do trial at all. It could be mental, physical, it could be anything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I say I feel as though if it's in a medical profession, or if she had her own lawyer, and saying her lawyer should know everything about whatever's going on with her, medical or not. Either way, one of the parties or both parties should at least give something in writing to the bank stating that she's not able to do this on her own. And then as far as if the bank want to just feel as though that they feel like she's not far enough to do it on their own, I feel like it should be after a certain age limit. Yes, it is your money. Yeah, they got to protect themselves too financially. But at the same time, at a certain point in age or in life, I feel as though there should be somebody that looks over after your finances.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say it'd be just like a regular person or you just hire a financial advisor. I feel as though it's somebody that should be that you know that you can trust handling your finances.
Okay,
Because you
so
never know. You might not catch what you used to be able to catch on your finances, like growing up in age.
but I think that's more of what I believe because that should have to be proven though, right? Instead of just saying by this age, you should have this person kind of helping you or looking over your finances because some people don't need that help, no matter how old
Yeah,
they
that's
get,
why I said.
right?
That's why I said I feel as though that it should be like something in written statement from either their power of attorney teacher is their lawyer, or one of their medical professions.
Okay. So let's say Wells Fargo, and I was talking to DJ about this off camera before, but as far as with Wells Fargo, I don't know if anyone else knows, but Wells Fargo has had a pretty bad reputation out here as one of the top major banks that's like a well-known bank, you know, like a Bank of America, like you just know Wells Fargo, you know that name. And they're always in a scandal. You know, CNN just published an article on that, shedding light on that, how they're always in a scandal. You know, when they had one where Wells Fargo admitted to opening and forcing customers to pay for unneeded auto insurance or charging unnecessary mortgage fees, and that's just one thing. You know, so, and there's many more scandals of Wells Fargo that have, you know, of course, they have shedded light on it because of this, obviously because of this Wendy Williams situation. DJ, do you feel as though banks should have such a power as this, keeping in mind that the average person like us, right, when I know for myself, like if I'm with a bank or even a credit card, right, and I normally make purchases around, let's say $100, if I make a purchase around $600 to $1,000, the bank might actually flag that transaction automatically, though, right? And then you might get a text message or a phone call that says, "Hey, is this you trying to make this charge? We froze this, it declined. Is this you? You have to verify it is you." Okay, great. Then you can make the purchase, right? And that's an automatic thing. You don't have to go to a branch. You don't have to call anybody. And you know, sometimes they might even, depending on the company, they might just, instead of sending a text message, they might have you call them. Or they might have you do both, right? But it doesn't get so extensive where they freeze your accounts for over 2 weeks, have you in court, and all that. So with that being said, DJ, do you feel as though Wells Fargo should have this type of power where they're saying, Wendy, we think you need a guardian?
To an extent, I feel like they should have kept it until they verified it was like her trying to make the transaction, and then if it wasn't her, they still like could have kept it in their possession. But like since like she's pretty much the fan, it's her making these decisions. They should just like let her have it back. Like it's her money, and she needs it now.
Okay, it's her money and she needs it now, and that's, you know, it's honestly, I feel as though Wells Fargo is honestly ruining their reputation even more, because you're doing this to a celebrity and someone who has had the #1 talk show for many years. Right, so this is all out there in the public, and who's really gonna, someone that has a lot of money, who's gonna really want to bank with someone who's taking you through all this? You know what I mean? And so I feel like Wells Fargo should really honestly bow out of this gracefully, like while they can, and not tarnish it and take this really to court like this, like, because it's really gonna make you side-eye them even more, is what I would say on that. So we're gonna move on to Pastor Dwayne Dawkins and this sex tape that was leaked online. And I don't even want to say leaked, because it was with the Onlyfans content creator. So it's just what they do, right? That's how they make the majority of their money, is uploading videos online. And so we're gonna say allegedly, because Pastor Dawkins is saying this is not him, right? He's saying this is not him. Although in the video, I don't know if anyone has seen the video, but in the video there is no face coverings. Okay, so his face is clear as day in multiple scenes, multiple shots. This Pastor Dwayne Dawkins is in Florida. There were several cameras set up in that room. Several different angles, different positions they were in. Of course, like I said, the video is online, and even though it's on OnlyFans, there are clips of this video, just, you know, where you don't even have to subscribe to OnlyFans. You see it for free. Okay. So I would say in one of the clips, the content creator is actually looking at a camera, right? Looking directly at one of those hidden cameras. And he says, "You better hurry up. You got to go home to your wife." Okay. So I want to know, do we believe that this pastor was set up? This is my first question.
Um, if someone, let me just put this blunt. If you hook up with somebody and the person that you hooks up with, y'all, and I'll be blunt, y'all fucking, okay? And that person tells you, you know, you gotta hurry up, you gotta go home to your wife. And that person is looking at the camera. You don't know they looking at the camera, but they know they looking at the camera. Hell yeah, it's a setup. They could have blocked out their face as well as your face, or at least your face. Because the person already got OnlyFans paid, so, you know, there's no need for them to block out their face. They're putting content out there anyway. But they didn't block out any faces. They knew exactly what they were doing. But I will also say this. Whether it was the pastor or whether it was not the pastor, you know you're married. You probably have, this person probably have children. Why would you put yourself get yourself involved in something like that, whether you knew you were being recorded or whether you did not know you were being recorded? Because there was a guy that was secretly recording people before in sexual acts. I don't know if you guys ever know about it or not, some time ago, and I believe he's still doing it. It's circulating on different types of porn sites, and it's been on Twitter and Facebook and other type of social media outlets. And this person was, I believe, hurt, a word got out or something, and he was exposed. But the answer to the question is, it definitely was a setup. But the person that set him up was wrong, and the pastor, if it was him, as Kevin said, allegedly him, but it looks like him. So if you go to commit an act and you know you're married and you have children or whatever the case may be, whether you know you're being set up or whether you don't know you're being set up, you're wrong. And then also, to be a man of God, you're definitely wrong. This is why a lot of people don't go to church in the first place. Because the same one that's up there telling you how to wear your clothes, and you shouldn't wear red lipstick, and you shouldn't wear high heel shoes, and you shouldn't gamble, and you shouldn't drink, they doing it their damn self. They done slept with everybody in the choir from the front of the church to the back to the pulpit. So how can you tell me what I shouldn't do if you doing it?
Okay. DJ, so do you feel like this was a setup for the pastor? He was set up?
I haven't really heard of it until today. But just like what Elijah said, it's supposed to be a man of God, and you're doing these ungodly things online. And yeah, you're preaching to the people, and you doing the same stuff you saying not to do.
Okay, so let me ask this question to Chief and DJ. Are pastors supposed to be perfect, though? Are they, they're only human, so are they, like, I feel as though people put them on this pedestal that they really shouldn't be on. Like, yes, they are preaching the word of God, and if you're a pastor, you're over a congregation, and, of course, you want to live as best you can, but they're still not perfect either. They're going to make mistakes as well, right? I feel as though are we not taking that into consideration, that he's only human?
I don't feel like they have to be perfect, but I feel like they should be like pretty much damn near perfect. Like they should know like certain things that like should not be done. And I feel like that was one of them.
You finished, DJ? I won't cut you off. I agree with both sides. I agree with DJ, and I agree with you, Kevin. But I'm gonna say this: you a pastor. You can stand up there in front of that pulpit, in front of that mic, in front of your congregation, whether it's a mega church, a medium-sized church, or a storefront church, and get thousands of dollars, drive around in Cadillacs and BMWs, and some of them, excuse me for what I'm about to say, but I'm gonna say it. Some of them motherfuckers is just as crooked as a Sharpie line drawn on a table in the middle of an earthquake with a loose leg. You tell me what I shouldn't do, but then you go and you do it. No, nobody is perfect, for sure. But you're a pastor. You know what your reputation means to other people. They come to your church to get the word of God and to walk right by what you say. They look to you for guidance and for self-worth. They look to you when everybody else done turn their back on them. They look to you when their marriage is in trouble, when they're going through financial hardship. They look to you when there's nobody else for them to look to. So, allegedly, and we'll keep it as allegedly, if this is this person that's doing this, and they're denying it, but they know in their heart that they're doing it. You sending everybody else to hell and damnation, but you done set your own self up to go to hell and damnation. No, nobody is perfect. And I'm not going to even say that anybody can be damn near perfect. But as DJ said, you're a pastor of a church. You are one of the highest members in your community. You shouldn't act like like someone you're telling your congregation not to act like. You should be better than that, and nothing less than that. You're going to make mistakes, but that's not a mistake. That's something that is done intentionally. You don't lay down and have sex mistakenly. If you can pull your dick out and put it in somebody, that ain't done by mistake.
Okay, so there is a video also of Pastor Dawkins. Now, that's not alleged. That's Pastor Dawkins in the pulpit, where he is saying there may be homosexuals and lesbianism in your family line, but it's not normal. And I watched that myself, and I had to play that back several times. He was speaking on even like just things in people's family, like cancer and different things as well. But that was one of the last things he said was there may be homosexuals and lesbianism in your family line, but it's not normal. And then allegedly, you're screwing a man, right? And you got caught. And again, based off the camera angles, these were hidden cameras. So with if this is the pastor, right? If this is this pastor and he's preaching like this, but he's doing this behind the scenes, what type of message is that sending to the church and to the people, Kimari?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
So, well, I don't know if you were following this topic. Were you following the topic itself? Or, because we're talking about...
I knew about the topic, but I honestly didn't pay it any mind because this happens pretty much all the time.
Okay.
So, there's not really too much to really say about it, honestly. I feel like they're all hypocrites. Yeah. But, what was your question?
Okay, so specifically for this, the pastor Dawkins was in the pulpit, and he said there may be homosexuals and lesbianism in your family line, but it's not normal. So allegedly, if this video is him, then he's being a hypocrite. So how does this look to pretty much the outside world, to other churches, you know, to his congregation? What would you say to that?
Um,
Like, do you think his congregation or just people in general are confused? Like, you know, you preach this, but now there's a video allegedly of you, you know, having sex with a man. Or is it more like this is just life? You know, he has, you know, just feelings and just urges as well, just like anyone else, and it should be okay. It should be excused. It doesn't matter.
I mean, it's kind of like I said, they're all pretty much hypocrites to me. Like, I don't know. I don't really have much to say about it, honestly. Um, I feel like they all do shit behind closed doors. I mean, he just got exposed for his shit. Um,
Okay. Understood. I definitely understand that. DJ, how would you feel about that?
Shit, my bad. Same with Kamari said, hypocrites.
Okay. Young Savage?
Uh, to be honest, the same. I don't really got a comment on it. It pretty much happens all the time.
Okay. All right, so it happens. There's a lot of, and that is true. It is true. There has been a lot of sex tapes released on different pastors. There's exploitations happening on pastors because of these, right? We do have, like what Chief was saying as well, where a lot of the pastors are sleeping with multiple members of the church, or, you know, like Andrew Caldwell even said, you know, before he went viral, he was looking for pastors, which pastors he's going to pretty much sleep with. That lets you know right there that there must have been a lot of options, you know, and obviously he's done it, you know what I mean? He's been able to do it. Now, I do not want to go as far as to say that they're all the same, because everyone's not the same. So I don't want to say every pastor is the same. Now, every pastor is human. That I will say. Every pastor is human. Every pastor makes mistakes. That we can say, but I'm not going to say everyone's making sex tapes or screwing, you know, doing a specific thing that they don't agree with. But obviously, you know, there's going to be pastors that curse. There's going to be pastors that gamble. There's going to be pastors that steal from their church, you know, the money from the church and use it for personal gain, right? So we know these things are going to happen because people they allow personal vendettas. And I think what DJ was saying earlier, as far as with they should be, you know, damn near perfect, is what he was saying is that, you know, they are looked at as role models. You know, when you're in a church and you're the pastor, you're a role model to not just your church, but to your community. So there's a discipline that you should have, and I believe probably everyone could agree to that, is as a pastor, if you're going to be a pastor or a minister of you know, the church, Christianity, whatever, Catholicism, anything, you know, that you should have a certain discipline before you decide to take that on. And if you don't possess that, then you shouldn't even do it, because you kind of tarnish that reputation. And that's why people will say, like, this happens all the time. Are they wrong? No, just like we can say, and, you know, because I don't want to blast maybe church that are Pentecostal or Baptist without shedding light on the Catholic Church. And we know what they're known for, right?
Been going through it for years.
Exactly.
Decades.
So, decades, yeah, right, exactly. So it's like, you know, even they're known for things that happen for decades, and how they, you know, approach children and stuff, you know. So sometimes, you know, I think, you know, that we just have to realize, I feel like we should not put them on such high pedestals. Again, just realizing these people are just human. They're gonna make mistakes. And when they do make mistakes, you know, maybe some of them just need some counseling. They need people to talk to. They need to live their own truths as well, because the world can be very judgmental. Um,
Can you finna close the topic? Can I add something on to that?
you can go ahead.
Okay, thanks. I agree with you, and I understand people make mistakes. But one thing, actually, there's just two things I'm gonna say. As far as the mistakes, I understand that. But you shouldn't damn somebody to hell or try to make it seem like you better than somebody because they doing the same shit that you're doing. I can understand cussing, that's a mistake, or gambling, okay. But when you talk about, and these pastors, not all do it, but when you got these pastors saying, and I've seen many videos saying that they don't want gays in their church, they don't want cross-dressers, this, that in their church. Okay, they have a right to feel the way that they want to feel. And I understand it's certain things that, excuse me, shouldn't be done in a church. But, you shouldn't call somebody out, as I've seen in a video before with a pastor saying, I don't know, you a cross-dresser, you in my church, I don't agree with that, this, that, and the third. Some people in the congregation agree with it. Some people in the congregation don't. And I'm going to say that everybody should be treated with respect and fair. It should be treated fair. Now, as I forgot what I was going to say, but as Kevin said, that all pastors are not the same. They're not the same. You have pastors out there that actually want to help their congregation. And they will help their congregation. And sometimes it's hard to find that good church that, I'm not going to say that fits you, but speaks the word. Because all churches speak the word. It just depends on if they're true to that word that they're speaking. And as Kimari and Young Savage and DJ said, a lot of them is a bunch of fucking hypocrites. They walk in there with these skyscraper-sized hats on and these suits, and it says, come as you are. But then you have people looking at you, telling you, oh, you shouldn't be wearing this. But look at what they wearing. Church is supposed to help the people that are in their congregation, as well as the community. Some churches look very lavished and have the best this and the best everything. High ceilings, mega audio recording devices, TVs put up all over the place, parking attendants at the parking lot for them to park your cars, but the communities that they built in look like shit. That money they spending on that building, which is God's house, God don't care how big or how small or how rich or how poor your church is. He cares what you're doing for your people. And if you cannot do what you are supposed to do for the community as well as your congregations, then your damn church should never been built.
Okay. I do want to just make a statement that "come as you are" is not in the Bible. It's not a scripture at all. It is just something that, the church is, the church should be that way, right? Because the church is supposed to be loving and all, and part of loving is accepting people as they are, right? So that's why that is. And just a lot of people, they don't like to really speak on such matters because they're kind of like fed up with hearing about it, a lot of times, because there's so much with negative. It's just like with the police, when there's so much negative attention given to something, kind of everyone starts to kind of take that idea like, oh, I don't trust the cops, you know what I mean? I don't deal with the police, you know what I mean? And that's why we grow up in these with these stigmas and stuff like that, as far as even with the church, like, like, oh, well, they're all just stealing the money from the congregation, or, they might turn around and they do you dirty, you know what I mean? But that, again, all police aren't bad, all churches aren't bad, it is what it is.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
I just wanted to just bring that up there as well. We're going to move on to our next topic here, which is actually Tyree Samson. Okay. Tyree Samson, the 14-year-old boy who was in Orlando at Icon Park, and he was on a ride, I believe it was called the Drop Tower, and he got on this ride, and he pretty much, I guess we could say, you know, slipped out of the seat and fell to his death, right?
I'm going to excuse myself for a minute, guys. Continue, okay?
Okay. So now this ride was actually the tallest free fall drop tower in the world. Okay, over 400 feet. And are we all aware that rides do come with weight restrictions? And I'm not coming at his weight, but I'm just saying, are we aware of that naturally just when you go to amusement parks? Do you guys know that there actually are signs for every ride, and they actually do go over like weight restrictions and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know, if you haven't been to an amusement park in a while, you probably don't know, but those are there normally once you get some, I don't know if they're in the beginning, but normally I know once you get up to the actual ride operator, like around that area, normally there is that, it's like a board, a cardboard that's there, and it normally says like no pregnant women and stuff like that. It's like all there right for you, right? So they're saying the weight restriction for the ride was 287 pounds. Tyree Samson weighed approximately, at the time, 340 pounds. So
Wait, say that again.
he weighed 340 pounds. And
14-year-old boy.
14-year-old boy. He was 6'5", 340 pounds. And the ride only went up to 287 pounds. And before he even got to this ride, you know, walking around with his two best friends, he actually tried to get on two other rides, and he was turned away by those ride operators for his size, right? So they made the right call to turn him away for his size. It hurt his feelings because he wound up calling like some, so it was like a female that he called on the phone, like, hey, you know, they told me I couldn't get on the rides, whatever. So he wanted to try some other rides, and he did. And I'm hearing background.
I had sent you to
Let me see.
so I said you probably was still watching your shows, and I know sometimes you watch your shows, you use your phone, so I didn't bother.
Hold on, I'll just send him that. Okay. So now they're saying with this ride, it pretty much comes down at about approximately 75 miles per hour. Now on this ride, there's no seatbelt because people were asking that, like, you know, are these people buckled in, you know? And the ride operator, he did state that there's no seatbelts. They just had the plastic part. You pull it down. I'm pretty sure we're all aware of that. When you just pull the harness down, and you kind of just hold on to the metal pieces that you can just grab onto. That's all you really have, and it kind of clicks into place as you're pulling it down. So it was one of those type of rides, which is pretty standard for one of those type of dropping rides. It's just how it normally is. So with that being said, you know, obviously the ride came down, he fell straight to the ground on his stomach. Who would be at fault here? Would we say the park itself is at fault? Would we say the ride operator is at fault? Would we even say Tyre Sampson is partially at fault? How would we feel about that?
Can I comment?
I would say, you want to go ahead first?
You want to? Is it okay if I go, or you want to go? Thanks. Okay, I'm gonna say this. I looked at the video. There's actually a video that's going around. I believe this was on. I think this was Twitter or Facebook. I forgot where I saw it. There was somebody that had a video and they posted it. That was very graphic. That was wrong. But to answer the question at hand, I was reading something where they said he tried to get on 2 rides before, and he was turned away. I don't know if y'all know about that. He tried to get on 2 rides before, and he was turned away because of his weight. He was 300 and something pounds. They turned him away because of his weight or whatever. He didn't meet the
Yeah,
requirements.
spoke on that.
Yeah. So this is the same. This is going to go 2 ways. This is the same amusement park. He was turned away from 2 other rides. And I don't know how they. If I'm turned away from 2 rides, is that information shared throughout the park? I don't know how that works. But
Well,
there should
to be
be.
honest,
Go ahead.
Elijah.
Uh
To
huh.
be honest, even if he was turned away from 2 other operators from 2 different rides, it's still within inside the same park. I'm pretty sure they got all the same regulations, rules and regulations for certain
Exactly.
certain
Okay.
rides. But
Okay.
the operator should at least know. Well, most of them, I guess, they go off of visual experience of working there for a long period of time. They'll know if you, I guess, over a certain amount of weight. I can't say for sure because it's been a while since I've been at an amusement park, so I don't know how they able to determine if you weigh more than the ride restriction.
Okay.
Because you can ask somebody and they can just give you a whole different weight restriction because they already seen the sign on another ride or something.
Well, I know I've been on many roller coasters and rides before. I never know if they measure people by weight. I know they measure you by height. If I never know them to measure you by weight. I've never been turned away from a ride. I don't know if any of you ever been turned away from a ride, but I know they usually measure people by height or whatever. But what I'm getting at, I don't know if they communicate, but you said they do or whatever. Okay. Also, if he see, this is where it gets gray at. I saw something where they said the latch wasn't secured enough. I saw that too. So if that's something that is true, and this is eyewitness accounts, if that's something that was true, those ride operators should have been more heavily trained. Because this is people's lives that you're talking about. I mean, I know, for instance, with Six Flags, they hire people seasonal, a lot of them are teenagers or whatever. And I'm quite sure they do go through training. But with that being said, if you can physically see, or if you feel in your heart to prevent someone's death, if you're going to spoil someone's fun, I'd rather you spoil that person's fun to prevent them from getting on that ride rather than you cause them to die.
So, do you guys think the kid himself should have checked it?
I mean, maybe the kid himself thought it was secure. I don't
feel as
know.
though with rides like that, especially going high up that high, I feel as though, like how Kevin said that they don't have seatbelts or anything, they just have this one specific thing that clicks in. I feel as though that they should still have more extra safety precautions, regardless if this person is over this height, this weight. They still should have some extra layer of protection to protect the individual on that type of ride. You're not talking about like if you're like a couple feet from off the ground. You're
Hmm.
you're like mid-air
You're tall as a building, a
basically. So
skyscraper.
I still feel like you should still have extra protection just in case if one thing fails, the other one counteracts that. Say for instance, if they went up all the way up in the air and then that thing just decided not to work properly anymore and they fell from it all the way in the air. Even though you said you secured it, even if you did actually secure it, it's not always a guarantee that that one piece of thing will actually still, work properly. You should always have a backup plan for when it comes to safety.
True.
So I
Okay.
still feel like they at fault, even if they didn't intentionally you know, do that way or whatever the case may be, I still feel like there's the amusement park is still at fault. You have all these rides. You're supposed to make sure they're secure enough for a person or individual to get on that ride.
Can I say something? I'm gonna let you finish. You finish?
Yeah, go ahead.
I agree, but also the family was with this child, right? This teenager, right? This right?
Not his family.
Who was he with?
He was with his
Just friends?
yeah, his friends. I believe his best friend's family.
Well, if he was turned away from two other rides and the best friend's family know that, why? Like, it's a. I feel I don't want to point fingers here, because someone lost their life. A little boy is not home with their family tonight. So, I mean, the fault has to lay with somebody. Okay, I feel the park is at fault.
I mean,
Because if you was turned around, if you was turned away from two other rides, you that I feel the park is at fault. I don't technically want to say the family, but the blame has to lie somewhere. But the ultimate blame has to lie with the park, the ride operators of that. They have to blame it somebody.
Okay, that is true. So it sounds like we're because I break it down as the park itself, the ride operator, or the actual victim, Tyree. And the reason why I'm breaking the park and the ride operator separately, because the park does have the proper they had the proper manual. They released their manual and it said 287 pounds was their limit. When we go to amusement parks, there is always a sign by the ride operator that goes over specifications for that ride. And most people don't read that. You know what I mean? Or they just look at the sign that has, like you said earlier, the height.
Height, yep.
And that's not always the case. Like that, the same sign that talks about pregnant women not going on rides is the same sign that talks about your weight. Okay, so now I have actually experienced going to an amusement park, and there was a person there, and it was a ride that it goes up in the air, and it just spins around and stuff like that, whatever. But you're in the same type of harness that this person was in, the same type of harness, okay? And of course, they was bringing it down, and the person was so heavy. Now, mind you, I was actually sitting in a super, I forgot what they call it, like a supersized seat or whatever, right? I didn't realize I was sitting in a supersized seat. So the person that was heavy was sitting next to me. So they were like, okay, you got to switch seats. So I switched the seats, right? This person, like took two ride operators to try to push and force this thing to click, because it was not clicking, right? So they're pushing and pushing. I'm talking about all their might. They're like, we can't get it to go. So they were like, you just can't get on the ride. That was wrong. For one, that you're trying to force something to click, right? This person's obviously just too big. You put them in a supersized chair and they're still too big. They just need to get off, right?
Exactly.
So I saw the video of Mr. Sampson on this ride, and his
harness.
His harness, yes, thank you. His harness was not straight down. It was diagonal. Because he was that big. And when on those rides, because I know there's a few of us here that have been on the same type of ride where it goes up in the air and it drops down like that. The ride operator is supposed to come around and push that in to make sure it is locked and secure. And most of them push it in even further. than what you have it as. You know, when you initially pull it down, right? They normally push it in even further, and they kind of yank it. You know what I mean? And then also where they stand at when they start the ride, there's a thing on there that shows, okay, these seats are, you know, properly secured. It should be a green light there. I worked at an amusement park, and let me tell you one thing: the ride, we had a ride just like that there. That ride was the most frequent ride that broke. And people got stuck on that ride all the time, and it was in front of the park. And I worked admissions, so I was in front of the park. So I used to always see it all the time, like, oh my God, here we go again. You know, you're just hoping that it just sits up there and gets stuck. You know what I mean? That nothing else happens. But that ride got stuck all the time. And sometimes, I remember one time, the seatbelt, the harness thing wasn't clicking for nobody. You know what I mean? So that was kind of scary. But, you know, it was just... You know, you just kind of, those type of rides, like I feel like Young Savage was saying, they need to have more safety precautions in place. The ride operator should not have allowed that boy to sit on that ride like that. I even feel as though the bystanders should have said something like, this boy is the only seat that's not fully down, and you're going to let him ride that? You understand what I'm saying? And then I also feel like, even though Tyree is a 14-year-old boy, and this is nothing against the family or anything like that, but I'm just saying, I do feel like there should have been some accountability on his part. You got turned away by 2 other ride operators, and now I know all rate restrictions for each ride is not the same, but once you got on that ride and you saw that your harness did not come all the way down, you should have felt some way about that then, because I know for me, if I'm getting on a ride, it needs to be secure. I need to feel secure before it starts. And if I'm not mistaken, I want to say when we went to Six Flags, you know, you made sure like that ride attendant came over. Like, you got to check me before you start this ride. You know, so, and what were you going to say, Chief? I know you were going to say something.
I was going to say that, you know, and before anybody say anything to this, you're 14, your mind is not yet fully developed, but you know what feels safe to you and what don't feel safe to you. Now, by no means am I jumping down his throat or saying anything wrong, but I mean, how can I put this? If
I'm pretty sure he didn't think that he was going to actually, you know, fall out of this ride.
But let's get something straight. The shit didn't click.
But he does. I'm pretty sure a 14-year-old don't always really know that.
And that's that. But that's what I'm saying. Your mind is still developing, but you have to know what feels right and what don't. If you get on a ride and you see that everybody else is securely seated in their seat, and if you hear that click, and yours is not clicking, you're gonna put your life on the line to say, to say to yourself, oh well, I want to have fun, but I'm still not sure. Something's not right there. Something's not right.
That's to say, if he actually thought that. Like, he probably thought it was just probably, like, I don't know. I wouldn't say like him. He probably wouldn't thought that at all. But yeah, that's what I see as, like what Kevin was saying, from a parent's perspective. You're looking at that. You're looking at everybody else and see. Then you should have stepped up and said something.
That's true. And like I said, by no means am I gonna blame him. But like I said before, he was with his friend's family. Now, why didn't the friend's family, you know, say, oh, that would have been a red flag if he was turned away from 2 other rides? Why didn't they say something? Am I wrong?
Well, I don't know that those people were actually there at that ride watching.
Okay.
But I do know his 2 best friends were on the ride with him. They were sitting next to him. The two best friends were there. So I know once he went up there, that's when he started saying like, "Hey guys, if I don't make it down, pretty much tell my mom and dad I love them." So he realized something was wrong once he got up there, though. So it clicked for him, but a little bit too late, right? And we want to say, as far as when it comes to the clicking, I do believe it did click. But it didn't click as much as it did for everybody else, because like I said, it didn't come all the way down. Like, because it does start, it clicks from the very moment you kind of start pulling it down. It starts clicking already, so it's getting in that position. But you know what I mean? Because when he fell out and the ride actually came all the way down, his seat was still, you know what I mean? It wasn't like the thing came all the way up. It was still intact, they were saying. And so it's just. It's like, how do you, if you're the parents, right? And the father said he learned about this online. He saw this online.
So this is something that was kept secret from the family.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to say that was kept a secret, but
I'm sure they got the phone call.
Yeah, they probably got the phone call later, but but because of how social media is, the lady that was recording that video that went viral, I believe, because she probably put it out there so quickly, or maybe she was on a live or something like that, I don't know. But they were, because of it was spreading like wildfire, they probably trying to figure out what's going on, and everyone's probably trying to get a hold of, the family that he's with, you know what I mean? Like, hey, this just happened, because they got to take time for them to figure it out, and then, then you're like, transporting this person to the hospital, and then you're probably going to call the parents right then and there or something, whatever, so. That's just, I don't know.
I'm going to just say this. I'm going to just say more information needs to come out. I feel like the ride and the park needs to be trained more. And the ultimate finger pointing and the ultimate questions lie with the park and the ride operator. Because the park trains the ride operators, which makes sure the safety of those passengers are at the limits that they need to be at. Because as Kevin said, two things that he said, and I'm going to excuse myself for a quick minute. As Kevin said, when we went on the ride, I made sure I was secure. And but I know I'm always way older than he was. That's why I said the brain of a 14-year-old is not as developed as everybody that is in this talk show is. And also, Kevin used to work at Six Flags, a well-known amusement park throughout the United States. Six Flags Great Adventures, exactly to be exact. That's in Jackson Township, New Jersey. And he has experience with stuff like that. I don't have experience. I'm just speaking from things that I know should work in a certain way. But the ultimate fault, whether I like it, whether Young Savages like it, whether Kimari likes it, the ultimate fault lies with the operator of the ride. But the ultimate finger pointing and answers should be handed down from the state to that park. Somebody needs to be held accountable, and it is the administration of that park. I'm going to excuse myself. Kevin, when you get ready for the next topic, just text me.
Oh, we're about to go right into it, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll wait. I've been waiting for this one.
Okay, so the last topic and the final topic is the one that's been circulating, the one that is called the slap heard around the world. Okay, and we are referencing the Oscars. Okay, we are referencing Will Smith and Chris Rock. All right, so I'm pretty sure we have all seen the video at this point of Will Smith pretty much storming the stage and putting his hands on Chris Rock because of a joke that was made towards his wife, toward Will's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, as we all know. Let's see. Okay, so we all know Chris Rock is a comedian. Okay, we all know that's what he does for a living. He's a comedian, okay? Let me ask this question first and foremost. But I do want to read the joke that Chris Rock said, though. It says, Jada, I love ya. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see ya. Does everyone know? I'm pretty sure you might have seen the videos on why at this point, though, but G.I. Jane 2, the actress that played that role had shaved her head, right? Shaved her head. Okay. Jada Pinkett Smith has shaved her head. Okay. So the joke was obviously about her hair and not having hair, pretty much. So with that being said, was the joke by the comedian Chris Rock funny? And why or why not? I would like to start with Kimari on this one.
So, do you want me to answer just this one question?
Yes.
Okay. Was the joke funny? No, it was actually pretty corny. Was it enough for him to be slapped? I mean, it depends. Because the joke wasn't really funny and like I don't think a lot of people really laughed like at home and stuff. I don't think he deserved to be slapped, but at the end of the day, he was talking about his wife, which wasn't his first time even talking about Jada. He's been picking on Jada for a while now, back when she was trying to boycott the Oscars. And when you seen the clip or whatever when he made the joke, you could see that she was clearly annoyed. So I think Will, he just kind of got upset and he was over it, so he just went up and smacked him. But I feel like Hollywood, they kind of been picking on him for a long time. Before this award show, they had went somewhere else, and what's her name, Laverne Cox, she had made a little joke or whatever. Like she was giving him props at first, like, you know, hey, congratulations, blah blah blah. And then she was like, hey, you know, I hope I want to see more entanglements on the Red Talk or whatever. And I could tell that kind of got to both of them a little bit, but he couldn't go after Laverne Cox because obviously she's trans. And he didn't want that smoke with the whole LGBT community and all that other stuff. So I just feel like he got fed up of, you know, just people making fun of him and his marriage and his wife and all that type of stuff, and he just took it out on Chris Rock. So does he deserve it? It really just depends on the person's viewpoint. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, as far as that question, that's what I gotta say about that.
Okay, and I do want to say, because you did say Chris Rock has been picking at Jada for a while now. So when we say a while, are we saying there have been multiple things that Chris Rock has said against Jada, or are we just referencing 2016's Oscars?
No, I think there's been multiple. Has there not been?
I mean, I don't know. That's what I'm asking you. But I was just asking. So I know about the 2016 because she was trying to, you know, do the boycott of the Oscars that year. And I believe that year, I want to say, I think there was like no black nominees, like if I'm not mistaken, in 2016, which is kind of crazy. But so let's say, now you also said no one really laughed at home. We technically wouldn't know that, right? We really technically don't know that. However, what we do know is
Twitter, like like all these award shows are corny. Nobody is laughing at home about this stuff. Everything is set up. Like nobody cares. Nobody's laughing.
Okay.
That's why I say that. That's why.
Okay, so now, but I was gonna say, we don't really know who's laughing at home. I mean, you can look on social media and all that stuff. That's great, but we don't really know. But what we do know is that in that audience, who laughed, right? We know that it looked like just about everybody was laughing in that audience, and that alone
That's what they're trained to
would
do.
also be, disturbing, right? That would probably contribute to the way Jada felt as well, right? Everyone in this room, or just about everyone in this room, is laughing at this. You understand what I'm saying? And I understand what you talk about Laverne Cox, and she brought up the entanglements and stuff, and it probably offended them as well. But I do understand what you're saying. You're saying basically like it was a buildup of this past years of what's been going on, and he kind of snapped pretty much at the Oscars, if I'm correct. Is kind of where you're going with that. So again, DJ, was the joke by the comedian Chris Rock funny to you? Why or why not?
It wasn't funny because it is a health condition that she has. Kind of went a little too far, I guess.
Okay, and the health condition that DJ is referencing is alopecia. Jada has been very vocal about that. However, does everyone, just because you go vocal about it, does everyone really know your health condition? At the same time. So is that a fair assessment, I guess?
Nah, I feel as though even though if you don't know a person's condition, you shouldn't just blatantly talk about them like that, because you never know what's the reason why.
But I feel like also he's like a comedian, and with her being like famous as well, it is a part of the job to take jokes.
Yeah, but there's a certain limit that you go to as a comedian. There's a limit.
Okay, so at the Oscars, I don't know if anyone actually watches the Oscars, but part of the host's job is to make jokes at people in the audience, right? And now, like Kimari was saying, though, Chris Rock, even though Jada was not there in 2016 or Will Smith was not there in 2016, he came for them even then as well. But now, fast forward to 2022, they are in the audience, and you come for Jada and her alopecia. And some people are saying, like, maybe Chris Rock didn't know that she had alopecia. He's just, that was just a joke, and it was just a G.I. Jane joke. And that's just what comedians do. So, how about you, Chief?
I'm glad you called on me, because I'm going to tell you how I feel about it. Okay, I know comedians are supposed to make jokes. I know comedians are supposed to make people feel good, and when they're feeling down, good, laughing is good for the heart and the soul and the body. Anyway, whether he knew, and some people say he did know. I'm going by the things that I've heard, not saying it's the truth or not or whatever. Some people say that the writers wrote this for him, and of course he wasn't reading off of no paper. He just remembered it from the top of his head. But I forgot which one of you guys said she was vocal about her disease. Who said that she was vocal about her disease? Was that you, Kevin, or was that Kimari?
That was me.
Okay. If someone's vocal about the disease, a life-altering, a life-changing disease, and everyone know, not only black, not only white, not only Asian, not any women of all races, their hair is their livelihood. We can all agree on that. Just that is the first thing that they get up and they take care of their hair. For Jada Pinkett Smith not to have her here. It must be something that is tragic to her. It must be something that is something that she can't live, but she's doing the best that she can. And for someone to stand up there and make fun of her like that, whether it was a joke, I feel it was intentionally. We get to that after I'm done with this. You don't do that. No one knows what she's going through in her private life. This is a disease that no one wants to have. This is a disease that make you look different. She can't wake up in the morning and run her hands through her hair. She can't wake up in the morning and put on shampoo or wake up in the morning and comb her hair because she doesn't have any. Oh. And it makes her feel, maybe it makes her feel as if she's not a woman. Maybe it makes her feel that she's less feminine. We don't know what she goes through. But as DJ said, and I believe Young Savage said, it's a disease. Chris Rock was wrong for what he said. We all know comedians, once again, supposed to make people laugh, but there's a certain boundary line that you should not cross. And I'm going to say this, and maybe I will have something else to say after this, maybe I won't. But I feel maybe Will Smith could have handled himself a little better, but he should have knocked the hell out of Chris Rock. This is the woman that bred his children. This is a woman that he married. No matter how rocky their marriage is, you don't talk about someone's wife. And as Kimari said, he broke. It was only so much that this man, whether he's a comedian, no matter what Will Smith is, he's still a human being. He has feelings too. Chris Rock should not have talked about his wife, no matter how you put it. And to hear a whole audience of, I don't know how many people was in there, a few thousand people laugh. When you look over at your wife, she felt annoyed. She probably felt like she was being made fun of. And I believe someone said she even, she cried a little bit. That's wrong. Chris Rock knew what he was getting himself into before he got into it. And like I said, maybe Will Smith could have handled it a little bit better. But as Kimari said, something snapped. And when you snap, and someone coming at your family, your wife, your husband, someone that's close to you, you're going to do what you can to defend him. Now, I'm not saying that if Will Smith would not have acted the way that he did, it would have made him not care about his family. But in a situation like that, Chris Rock got exactly what he fucking deserved.
Oh, okay. So just to clarify, on behalf of the Academy, they do have a script that the comedian hosts that is approved, right? That they have writers at the Academy. They do have writers for them. However, the Academy did come out and say they did not write that, and they said that was not in their approved original script. So Chris Rock did that off the top of his head.
Thank you. And that's what I was, thank you, Kevin. And that's what I was, because I heard people saying he did it, they told him, everything was all over the place at the time. Because when I first heard about it, I'm like, okay, this is whatever. Then as I've heard more, I'm thinking, okay, maybe this is a joke. They playing around, because I remember there was an award ceremony, some kind of award where, what's his name? I forgot who was joking on one another, but it was all jokes. What's Tamala Mann's husband's name?
Oh, David.
David, yeah, the one that played the one that played
Brown.
In the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
He was another guy. It was a heavyset guy. They was talking about one another, but it was clearly jokes, and everybody know it was jokes. This was one of the award ceremonies where I think Steve Harvey was the host or something. I don't know if you guys seen it, but I happened to run across it on Facebook. I think it was Facebook or YouTube. But anyway, that was jokes. This was clearly not a joke. This is a life debilitating, humiliating, defacing disease, to say the least. And as Kimari said, he came at them in 2016 for the Oscars when they was not there. Did it again in this year, 2020, and they was there. What on with that? Did he think that Will Smith was not going to defend his wife? Think that it was going to just slide? You don't push someone's buttons and think that that person is not going to push back. What Chris Rock did was wrong. As a comedian, as a human being, and furthermore, as someone in the limelight. He got what he deserved, and if the same situation would arise again, I would say to myself, well, Will, knock the hell out of him again.
Okay, so what about the people saying they should take Will Smith's Oscar away from him?
I'm gonna say this, and then I want to hear the other three people that's in here. They shouldn't take his Oscar. I'm gonna tell you why. Because things like this, what about, and I'm not being racist, but I want to touch on something. What about when Caucasian people, white people decide to get up there on stage and show their ass? Does anybody say anything? No. It's all over the news. It's all over social media. But then nobody else is talking about it. No one says anything. And let's just keep this real. It's been years and years and decades before they even realized black people in movies and in films, the Oscars was totally white. Yeah, they probably gave some nominations for this person, best picture or best whatever. But white people do stuff like this all the time. And I'm not being racist because I'm not racist. But I'm calling it how I see it. That's something that has been going around also that people has been saying. So my thing is this. No, it shouldn't have been taken. Because if one race can show their ass, why can't another one?
Okay, so we're not saying his just to be clear, we're not saying his word was taken, but they're saying like that could be a possibility. Some people want it to be taken though. You know, people that don't agree with what he did.
Okay. Well, I don't think it should. Okay. My bad, Kevin. I don't think it should be taken because they got to look at this too. Some people have a little bit more self-constraint, but some people. Ask Kimari. The reason I keep saying Kimari because he said something that I did not know. When you get to a breaking point and you sit next to your wife and you feel what your wife feels, what are you going to do? Some people may have handled it a little bit differently, but this is this man's wife. He knows what she's going through with her disease. I mean, some people's making jokes. Oh, he's going to be able to get, excuse my French. Oh, this is going to set him on the right stage. You can get pussy tonight. That is totally disrespectful. But what I'm saying is this. This is his wife. No matter how hard a relationship or your marriage is, you know when you have to defend your homeland. That's his pride and joy. She bared his children. She gave birth to his children. He lays down next to her every night, wakes up next to her every night. You don't make fun of someone's wife in front of their face. You don't do it behind their back, but you damn sure don't do it in front of their face.
Okay. So, when we, let's just say, so Young Savage, so when we see that Will Smith, obviously stormed the stage. Because now in the video, if you've seen the video, before Will Smith stormed the stage, he was seen laughing, right? A little giggle, whatever you want to say. And then, but you also saw after that, Jada's face was pissed. And then Will Smith gets up and goes to the stage. Did he act strictly out of his emotions? Did he make the right decision? Would you have done the same thing?
I mean, I probably would have done the same thing because at the end of the day, I'm still defending my spouse. And if my spouse wouldn't allow you to talk about me that way, I wouldn't allow myself to let you talk to my spouse that way. So, I mean, either way, I get that you're a comedian and everything, but like I said, it's a certain line that you just have to draw, especially when it comes to another man's wife. So, I mean, I think Will Smith did what any other man would do if you're talking about somebody's wife.
Okay. Let's see. So, Chris Rock had a documentary that came out some years ago entitled Good Hair. And he had made it because one of his daughter kind of had questions about her hair. And he basically said that he wanted to celebrate the importance of hair to black women. And one of the women who was on his documentary had alopecia. And she spoke out or made a statement and basically was just like, she couldn't even believe it. You know what I mean? Like, why would you do that? You did a documentary on good hair. Do you not remember speaking to me and how I told you how important it is, for women in their hair? And, I'm suffering with alopecia and you know what I mean? Like, she was very offended. And a lot of people, a lot of women specifically with short hair or bald, were very offended as well. And so they're saying, how could you make a documentary about that? And then there's a video of him with Oprah on her show when she had her talk show. And Oprah's hair was very nice. If you ever seen Oprah's hair, her hair, she has very good quality hair, like her own personal hair, not, because I know a lot of people use weaves and wigs and stuff, but her own personal hair is very rich. Okay. And in the video clip, he's basically saying oh, you must have some type of weave or a piece in your hair. That's not your hair. So she literally gets up out of her seat and is like, you can run your hands through my hair. He does it. And then he still says, oh, you must have a little piece in the back or something like that. And so she gets up again and is like, no, you can run your head through my hair. And he does it again. And he's like, oh, wow. You know what I mean? Now he's surprised. She had to prove that she could have good quality hair as a black woman. You understand what I'm saying? So people were kind of offended because of that as well. Okay, you don't have the perfect track record when it comes to women's hair, or even when it comes to, people were pointing out the fact that his career is basically, as a comedian, has been built off of coming against black people, though. You know what I mean? It's his career has been at the expense of black people. The same thing they say about Dave Chappelle. His jokes are mainly geared toward his own people just to get ahead to appease the white man. Okay? And a lot of people are saying that as well. So it's knowing all this information, gathering all this information, and then you see the people in the comments, who are rallying against Will Smith because they agree with Chris Rock. Right? They're like, hey, you can't take a joke. Everyone doesn't know your wife has alopecia. Chris Rock is a comedian. Will Smith should have been arrested.
I feel it was weird though because he was actually laughing at the joke until he found out.
Will Smith, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I say something real quick?
Mm-hmm.
I will say this. Maybe he laughed at the joke to try to brush it off. Maybe he was angry to try. You know, someone makes you angry, you laugh. You know, you'll do a little chuckle or whatever to try to brush the joke off. Maybe that's what it is. But when he looked over and saw the face on his wife, it's, and I don't know why I keep referring to Kimari, but
Right.
something in him broke. No matter what type of man you are, a gay one, a transsexual one, a transgendered one, a straight one, a heavy set one, a black one, a fucking swamp monster. I don't care what you call yourself. We all have feelings. And he saw that on his wife's face. And he broke. Maybe he could have had a little bit more restraints. Maybe. But just because he did not have the type of restraint that other people thought he should have does not make him less of a person. Who knows if the joke would have continued to get worse if he not have acted the way that he acted. Sometimes you have to come out of character to put other motherfuckers in character. You can't continue to let somebody talk about you and your family, your wife, your children, etc. You have to let them know who you are. Not saying that that's what Will Smith wanted to do, but he had to say, look, I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of people making fun of me and my family and my marriage and my wife's condition and so forth and so on. And then the situation, you know, people talks about his son and his sexuality and all of those types of things. He broke. So he had enough.
So one of the questions posed was, would Will Smith be in this predicament if it wasn't for his wife?
Can you explain a little, you mean with her condition?
And it is because a lot of times people they're like, you know, if he wasn't with Jada, there wouldn't probably be all these different stories about them. As far as like, for instance, the entanglement, right? That's because of Jada, right? The entanglement situation was because of Jada. That went crazy, right? That went crazy viral. I believe Kimari touched on that a little earlier. And the fact that people are saying that they feel like Jada is toxic. Or maybe even Will Smith might be toxic.
I want to say something about this, because this opens up a whole Pandora's box. I know that they have some an open relationship. I seen him cheek to cheek with some white lady. I forgot her name. I know Jada Pinkett Smith was in the black guy. I forgot the guy's name. You guys probably know what I'm talking about, because I don't follow tabloids like that. But anyway, what happens in their life is their life. But to answer your question, Kevin, maybe it would have, maybe it wouldn't have. Maybe it would have been worse. So I cannot go by a lot of, I know you're just asking the question, so this is not directly meant towards you, but what I'm saying is, people can't say his life would not have been the way that it is now. It could have been better. It could have been worse. No one knows. Everybody is not psychics. So people can say how they feel. Just because one feel a certain way does not mean that it is accurate. Shit, I can feel like it's going to snow tomorrow. Does that mean it's going to snow? No. And that is a problem that society have now. They feel that because they spend 20 hours of their life on social media and everybody else's business, they feel that they know everything. And they don't. So to answer your question, his life could have went any other way if he was or if he was not with Jada Pinkett Smith. And, okay, you said people say that she's toxic. Maybe she is. Maybe she isn't. But no one has a right to tell someone else who they have a right to love.
Okay. So later that night, Will Smith did win the award for Best Actor for his portrayal in the movie King Richard, playing Richard Williams, Serena and Venus's father. And he did issue an apology to his peers and to the Academy. Now, he did not apologize to Chris Rock in that speech. Does anyone feel as though he owed Chris Rock an apology?
Hell no.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't owe anybody an apology, to be honest.
Say it again, Kimari.
He doesn't owe anybody an apology, to be honest. I mean, if we're going to keep it real, the audience is filled with abusers, child molesters, pedophiles. So I really don't give a fuck about Will Smith smacking Chris Rock. I feel like if we're gonna, if y'all want to, talk about something, or if y'all want to arrest somebody, y'all need to start with those movie directors and casting agents and all of them, because a lot of people in Hollywood that are into some sick stuff. They are into some sick stuff. So I really don't care that much. Like, people get slapped every day. That's nothing compared to what they do. So, like, yeah.
Okay. So, all right. So I understand. I mean, you're saying in the audience. Now, I don't know who was all in the audience. I don't know because I didn't watch the Oscars.
People in the audience, people in the past. You got people like what's his name, Harvey Weinstein, like mad people, like.
Right,
isn't he locked up? Sorry to cut you off, but isn't Harvey Weinstein in jail?
No, I think what he's really referring to, because there's so many winners of Oscars who have been like sexual predators and stuff like that.
Okay, I got it. Okay, my bad.
So it's like what Will Smith did compared to what they've done or been doing is really minuscule. But of course, it's being magnified. I think a lot of people feel like being magnified because he's a black man, and it's and I don't want to. Hollywood is a very weird place. It's a very weird place, and like Kimari said, there's a lot that goes on in Hollywood. Like, I don't want to say everyone in Hollywood, but there's a lot that people have to do to get on, and that's just facts. You know what I mean? Like, that's nothing new under the sun. So it's just like, what do people have to do to get to that next level type of a thing? And being that, I guess everyone's in agreement that Chris Rock was not owed an apology. Now, one of the co-hosts, Wanda Sykes, she was on Ellen show, and she felt as though Will Smith should have been escorted out of the Oscars. And she felt as though when he won that award, she should have been able to go up there and say, Will Smith cannot accept this award.
Well, I know. You said what was the person you said? What you said, Wanda Sykes?
Yes.
I know who Wanda Sykes is because I've seen episodes of Larry David with her in it.
Okay.
I don't know too much about her or whatever because I don't really follow tabloids. I know some of you. I know Kimari and Kevin. I know you do, but I really don't per se. I see things. I watch the news, so that's how I know things happen. But I didn't see this on the news. I saw this on social media. I feel that she should mind her damn business.
Exactly.
Because she ain't. Like I said, I don't know nothing about her, but who know what secret she got in her closet. So you can't sit up here and talk about what Will Smith did if you ain't gonna reveal what you doing.
Well,
It's the
okay.
same woman that refused to have a black child. So what she did was
See, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Kimari, because I'm gonna let you finish. My bad, but exactly as I just said, you can't talk about, and that speaks a lot about somebody.
she
That
refused to
speaks a
have
lot about somebody.
she refused to have a black child because her white partner didn't know how to do black hair. So because of that, she chose a white sperm donor. So I really don't give a fuck what she gotta say. She can go to hell.
Okay. And some people were saying that, she said these comments on Ellen DeGeneres' show, right? And they're saying like, did you say all this when Ellen was under fire for how she was treating her employees? Did you say she should be canceled? Did you say she should be under investigation? So she got her show taken away? I'm just saying, just throwing that out there. But, it seems like, because what happens is it seems like when the fellow, your fellow black man or woman is under fire, a lot of black people are quick to turn on them. You understand what I'm saying? But when your white friend is under fire, you shut up like Oprah did when it comes to, what was it, Harvey, if I'm not correct? That was her friend, Harvey? Or was she Weinstein's friend or Epstein's friend? She was one of them. Oprah, she was friends with one of
don't
them.
know.
I think the guy with the island, though. And my thing is, though, Oprah, is quick to do something on black people. Michael Jackson, right? Gayle King, quick to do something on black people. R. Kelly. But when Epstein or Weinstein, I don't see documentaries about them under their, interviews with them. You know what I mean? But when a black person goes under, they're quick to jump to the front of that line. You understand what I'm saying? As well. So they did state, though, the Academy did state that they did ask Will Smith to leave the Oscars that night, and he refused. So they wanted to make that clear, that they did try to make him leave. They asked. Then they also came out and said Chris Rock ultimately decided not to press charges against Will Smith. Just to, also make that clear, Will Smith did later, the next day, the following day, he did issue an apology to Chris Rock. Okay, online, on social media. I believe it was just text, though. I don't believe it was like a video or any audio like that. It was just text. And I believe Jada Pinkett, she had released a statement just saying that, I don't know, she says like a new season ready for healing or something like that, whatever. But I guess the consensus is, if you're someone like Chris Rock, you probably want to watch your mouth.
Exactly. We can all agree with that. We can all agree with that, because what I did not know that him and what's the other person, Dave Chappelle, always had something bad to say when it came to black people. I did not know that. I didn't know that. But I'm gonna say this too. Dave Chappelle, you said Dave Chappelle always had something bad to say about black people, but who's the one that's always laughing at his jokes? Black people. And I'm glad I'm not one of them, because I didn't even watch his damn show.
Yeah, honestly, a lot of black people don't find Dave Chappelle funny.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he actually appeals more to white audiences. Yeah.
And do I have to say why? That y'all just revealed? Exactly. We all know, so we can keep that amongst ourselves.
Well, is there anything else anyone wanted to say on this topic before we wrap this up?
Well, I'ma just say I'm glad that Chris Rock got the shit knocked out of him. That's the way I'ma end mine. And I stand by Will Smith.
I just want to say, black people, they need to stop trying to please white people so much. They're gonna view you however they want to view you. So say fuck it and just be yourself, honestly.
How about based on what you just said, Kimura, how about we black people support our own award shows? You know what I mean?
They don't want to.
That's
which
what
I
but I'm
find.
saying they should, you know, you really should, because I think that was, first of all, that was the purpose of us even having our own, right? Is to support our own people, right? And then for you guys to get, a lot of times what happens is when they get bigger, when celebrities get bigger, they're more international, that's when they decide to, let me flip the script now. I don't really mess with black people anymore. I'm going to go over here, right? And I feel like people like us realize that, and we're like, hey, like, it's like you don't even support us no more. It's not a good look to be around your own people no more. You know what I mean? And you gotta hold these celebrities accountable for that. You know what I mean? Because that does, they you know, whether they want to be influencers, they, you know, or not, they are. You know, even though sometimes they be like, oh, you know, like, you know, I'm not a role model. You are, by default, you're a role model as a celebrity. You know what I mean? Because you're out there, you're advertised, you're in people's faces, you know, you're gonna have fans, you're gonna, you know, and these people are gonna look up to you. So we have to keep that in mind as well. So I'm glad Kimari touched on that, because that's very, very important. Should we really care about the Oscars?
The thing is, when it comes to that, people gonna care about what they want to fucking care about, whether we like it, or whether it's right, or whether it's wrong, or whether it is whatever it is. People don't give a damn about. And I'm not saying everybody, so let me clear that up. I'm not saying everybody, but certain few will do what they want to do, whether they know it's wrong or not. And that's just the way people is. I'm not going to say in our generation. I'm not going to say in the generation after us. I'm not going to say in the generation before that generation. And generations, every generation has fucked up individuals. Is it right? No. Is it a shame? Yes.
Well, we're gonna end it there if no one has anything else to say. Just make sure you send a Cash App to support this channel. Okay? When I advertise this video all over the place, I'm gonna make sure we put some Cash Apps in the description.
Well, since the talk, as I said, people gonna do things wrong, whether they see it wrong or whether they don't. And this is your talk show host that just said send a Cash App.
Okay then. Well, I enjoyed having all of you here, DJ, Chief, Kimari, Young Savage. And I look forward to doing this again. Y'all were kind of fun.
Well, but I'm glad that I was able to come, because I know we have not been able to do one in such a long time. And I was still a twist, because I just thought it was going to be kind of one topic, but it developed into all of these, which was good. I can't wait to see what the next one is going to be about.
Alright, get this done. There.